Dr. Maya Harrison knew something was wrong the moment her quantum entanglement readings began showing impossible patterns. The laboratory at CERN hummed with its usual energy, but the data streaming across her holographic display was anything but normal. Quantum particles that should have been random were dancing in perfect synchronization across distances that defied physics. "Dr. Wei," she called to her colleague, "are you seeing this?" The older scientist adjusted his glasses, frowning at the streams of data. The patterns weren't just unusual, they were artificial. Someone, or something, was manipulating the quantum field on a global scale. Within hours, similar reports began flooding in from quantum research facilities worldwide. The quantum internet, humanity's pride and newest technological achievement, was experiencing unprecedented disruptions. But unlike normal interference, these disruptions carried meaning. Maya spent 3 sleepless nights decoding the patterns. When she finally cracked it, she wished she hadn't. "They're watching us," she announced to the Emergency UN Council, her voice steady despite the weight of her discovery. "The quantum disturbances aren't random noise. They're scan patterns. Something is systematically mapping every digital network on Earth." The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Maya continued, her holographic projection appearing in government chambers worldwide. "Whatever's doing this, it's using technology that makes ours look like 2 tin cans connected by string. The level of quantum manipulation required, it's beyond anything we theorized possible." That's when every screen on Earth flickered simultaneously. The hegemony made their first move. The message appeared in every language, on every device. "Greetings. Developing species designation. Human. Your civilization has been evaluated and found acceptable for integration into the galactic hegemony. Resistance is unnecessary. Accept our guidance, and your species will be elevated. You have 30 rotations of your planet to accept our generous offer." In Washington, D.C., General Sarah Chen of the newly formed Global Defense Initiative watched the message repeat across a wall of monitors. "Generous offer," she muttered. "Why do I feel like we're being offered a choice between the cage and the slaughterhouse?" What the hegemony couldn't see was humanity's immediate response, not the official one, that would come later, but the instantaneous reaction of a species that had spent centuries imagining this very moment. Social media exploded not with panic, but with determination. Servers crashed as people shared survival strategies, theoretical alien weaknesses, and most importantly, hope. In his Bangalore apartment, gaming designer Raj Patel watched his MO's player count skyrocket. Gamers weren't running. They were practicing. His game, Stellar Defense, had suddenly become Earth's largest alien invasion simulator. Players weren't just fighting for fun anymore. They were testing strategies, finding patterns, preparing. Maya's team made their first breakthrough 3 days later. "The quantum interference," she explained to General Chen, "it's not just scanning us. They're using quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communication. And they're sloppy about it." She pulled up a visualization of the alien network. "They're so advanced, they never considered we might be able to detect their communications, let alone understand them. But we can do more than that. We can listen in." The hegemony's overconfidence became clear as Maya's team decoded more of their quantum chatter. They weren't conquerors coming to destroy Earth. They were bureaucrats, following standard procedures for absorbing primitive species into their empire. Earth was just another checkbox on their expansion list. "They think this is routine," General Chen realized, studying the decoded transmissions. "They've done this so many times, to so many species, they're not even considering we might fight back." Maya smiled for the first time in days. Then they've made their first mistake. Because fighting back isn't just an option. It's in our DNA. The next few days revealed more about the hegemony than they'd learned about humanity. Their quantum network was vast but standardized. Their protocols were advanced but rigid. Their technology was incredible but unchanged for millennia. They were a species that had stopped evolving, stopped adapting, stopped imagining new possibilities. In her lab, Maya watched the alien quantum signals pulse across her screens. "They gave us 30 days to accept their offer," she said to her team. "That's 30 days to show them why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology." She pulled up a new simulation, one that showed how their own quantum discoveries could be weaponized. "It's our ability to turn every challenge into an opportunity." The hegemony had made a fundamental error in their assessment of Earth. They saw our quantum technology in its infancy and assumed we were primitive. They never considered that watching their own quantum network might teach us more in days than we'd learned in decades. They never imagined that every science fiction story, every game, every dream of alien contact had prepared humanity for this moment. They had given Earth an ultimatum. But in doing so, they had given humanity something far more dangerous: a deadline, a common enemy, and most importantly, a reason to prove them wrong. The United Nations building in New York had never seen anything like it. Former enemies sat side by side, intelligence agencies shared their deepest secrets, and military commanders who once pointed missiles at each other now planned Earth's unified defense. Commander Jack Chen watched it all from his position at the central podium, still amazed by how quickly everything had changed. "The hegemony's quantum network extends through most of the Orion Arm," he explained, gesturing to the holographic map floating above the assembly. "Their ships maintain constant communication through quantum entanglement. It's their strength, but Dr. Harrison's team thinks it might also be their weakness." Dr. Sarah Patel, a cultural anthropologist who'd spent her career studying how civilizations adapt to existential threats, stepped forward. "The hegemony's behavior follows a clear pattern. They've been the dominant force in their region of space for so long, they've lost the ability to innovate. Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it hasn't fundamentally changed in thousands of years." In the audience, representatives from every major nation listened intently. The usual political posturing was notably absent. Nothing unites like a common enemy. "We've detected their ships at the edge of our solar system," Commander Chen continued. "But they're not advancing. They're waiting for us to submit, following their standard protocol. They expect us to be paralyzed by fear, overwhelmed by their technology. Instead, we're going to show them something they've never seen before." In orbit, the International Space Station had been transformed into humanity's first Space Defense Command Center. Colonel Yuki Tanaka, supervised as engineers from a dozen nations, installed new quantum sensors based on the hegemony's own technology. Every alien transmission they intercepted taught them more about their would-be conquerors. "They're so predictable," Yuki commented to her international crew. "Every communication follows the same protocols they've used for millennia. They don't even encrypt their transmissions. They never imagined a primitive species could access their quantum network." Back on Earth, Raj Patel's gaming servers had become an unexpected strategic asset. His company's offices in Bangalore now hosted military strategists alongside professional gamers. "Look at these battle patterns," he explained to a group of generals. "Our players have been simulating alien invasion scenarios for years. They've developed strategies the hegemony would never expect because they're too creative, too unorthodox." Dr. Harrison's quantum research team had made another breakthrough. Working from facilities around the globe, they'd found a way to not just listen to the hegemony's communications, but to subtly interfere with them. "It's like they built this massive, sophisticated highway," she explained to the Global Defense Council, "but never installed a single security camera because they thought no one else could drive." The hegemony's next message came 15 days into their ultimatum. It appeared on screens worldwide, just like the first. "Your species continues its technological activities. This is acceptable for now. Soon you will understand the futility of independence. Your integration will proceed as planned." Commander Chen smiled as he read the message. The aliens had mistaken humanity's preparations for simple technological development. They didn't understand that every lab, every factory, every computer network on Earth was being repurposed for what was to come. In underground facilities, Quantum physicists worked alongside hackers to develop weapons that could target the hegemony's network. On the surface, new satellites were launched under the guise of communication upgrades, each carrying dormant defensive systems based on reverse-engineered alien tech. Dr. Patel's cultural analysis had revealed something crucial about the hegemony. They've never faced real resistance, she told the Global Council. Every species they've encountered either fought conventionally and lost, or submitted immediately. They have no concept of asymmetric warfare, of turning their own strengths against them. The preparations weren't just military. Every aspect of human culture was adapting. Artists created morale-boosting works that went viral globally. Musicians composed anthems of resistance that topped charts in every country. Children played schoolyard games inspired by the coming conflict, unknowingly helping to normalize the idea that humanity could stand against the stars. 20 days into the ultimatum, humanity was ready to begin its first major test. In a coordinated effort spanning every continent, quantum researchers prepared to launch their first active probe of the hegemony's network. The risk was enormous. If detected, it would reveal humanity's true capabilities. But the potential intelligence was worth it. Initialize the quantum probe, Dr. Harrison commanded. In labs worldwide, scientists held their breath as they reached out to touch the alien network. For 3 tense minutes, humanity's quantum tendrils explored the hegemony's communication system. When they withdrew, they carried with them the first complete map of the alien fleet's positions. Commander Chen studied the data with his international staff. The hegemony's ships were arranged in a perfect, standardized formation, exactly as their unchanged protocols demanded. They're not ready for a species that can think outside their rules, he observed. And that's exactly what we're going to give them. As the ultimatum's deadline approached, humanity continued its preparations with quiet determination. The hegemony had expected to find a primitive civilization paralyzed by fear and awe. Instead, they had awakened a species that had spent its entire existence adapting, innovating, and overcoming impossible odds. In her lab, Dr. Harrison put the finishing touches on humanity's response. They think they're giving us a choice between submission and extinction, she said to her global team. But they're about to learn that humanity always finds a third option. Kai Rodriguez stared at his monitor in the darkened gaming studio, watching as millions of players worldwide stress-tested his latest simulation. The former M&O developer had never imagined his gaming expertise would become crucial to humanity's survival, but here he was, running Earth's largest military training program disguised as a game update. The players are adapting faster than we expected, he told Dr. Harrison, who watched the data streams with growing excitement. They're finding exploits in the simulated hegemony systems that we never even considered. The gaming studio had become an unlikely command center, where professional gamers worked alongside military strategists and quantum physicists. Every player interaction with the simulated alien systems provided valuable data on potential weaknesses in the hegemony's real network. In orbit, Colonel Tanaka's team had successfully embedded quantum sensors throughout the solar system, hidden within seemingly innocent satellite debris. They're still following their standard patrol patterns, she reported to Commander Chen. Their ships move like clockwork, no variation, no adaptation, no creativity. Dr. Harrison's breakthrough came during a late-night analysis session. Look at this, she called out, pulling up a visualization of the hegemony's quantum network. Their communication protocols are perfectly ordered, mathematically precise. Too precise. She highlighted a pattern that repeated across every transmission. They've optimized their system so much that it's become rigid. They sacrificed adaptability for efficiency. The implications were staggering. The same perfect optimization that made the hegemony's network so powerful also made it vulnerable to disruption. Like a crystal lattice, its very perfection became a weakness. Crack it in just the right way, and the whole structure could shatter. Kai's gaming community had unknowingly provided the key. Our players don't think like the hegemony, he explained to the Global Defense Council. They try impossible things, break expected patterns, find solutions that shouldn't work but somehow do. We've essentially crowdsourced ways to break a system that thinks it's unbreakable. Dr. Patel, watching the gamers work, saw something profound. This is why they've never faced a challenge like us, she observed. The hegemony's technology evolved to be perfect, but they lost something essential along the way: the ability to think differently. 25 days into the ultimatum, humanity began its first active countermeasure. Using the quantum interference techniques developed by Dr. Harrison's team, they started introducing subtle irregularities into the hegemony's network. Nothing big enough to detect, just tiny imperfections that would slowly accumulate. It's like adding grains of sand to perfectly tuned machinery, Dr. Harrison explained. Each grain is insignificant, but together they'll cause the system to break down in ways the hegemony won't expect or understand. The alien response was exactly as predicted: nothing. Their systems, designed to detect conventional attacks, were blind to the kind of asymmetric warfare humanity had devised. The hegemony's confidence in their technological superiority had become their greatest vulnerability. Commander Chen coordinated the global effort from the transformed UN headquarters. Every gaming server, every quantum research facility, every network device on Earth is now part of our defense system, he announced to the world's leaders. We're not just fighting their technology. We're fighting their assumptions about what's possible. In Bangalore, Raj's gaming servers have become the testing ground for humanity's most ambitious plan. Players worldwide were unknowingly helping to develop a quantum virus that could spread through the hegemony's own network. The virus was unlike anything ever created. It didn't just disrupt systems, it introduced chaos into their perfect order. The virus mimics human creativity, Kai explained to Dr. Harrison. It doesn't follow logical patterns. It adapts, evolves, does the unexpected. Everything the hegemony systems are designed to prevent becomes a weapon. The hegemony's third message arrived with 5 days remaining. Your continued technological advancement is noted. It will serve the collective well once integration is complete. Prepare for final submission protocols. In response, Dr. Harrison initiated the final phase of preparation. The quantum virus was distributed to facilities worldwide, ready to be unleashed through the countless points of access humanity had quietly created in the alien network. They think our technology is just catching up to their standards, she told her global team. They don't realize we're not trying to match their perfection. We're about to introduce them to the beautiful chaos of human innovation. Colonel Tanaka's orbital sensors detected increased activity in the hegemony fleet. The aliens were preparing for what they thought would be a routine integration of another primitive species. Their ships moved into standard formation, their quantum network hummed with unchanged protocols, and their systems remained perfectly, fatally optimized. They're so confident in their superiority that they've forgotten the most important lesson of evolution, Dr. Patel remarked to Commander Chen as they watched the alien ships approach. It's not the strongest that survive, but the most adaptable. In his gaming studio, Kai put the finishing touches on the virus's delivery system, ready to show them how humans play the game. He asked Dr. Harrison with a grim smile. The hegemony had built an empire on predictability and perfection. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength lay in being anything but predictable, in finding beauty in imperfection, and in turning apparent weakness into unexpected strength. The final hours of the hegemony's ultimatum ticked away in perfect silence. Their massive ships hung in formation at the edge of the solar system, waiting for humanity's surrender. In underground facilities across Earth, a different countdown was underway. Commander Chen stood in the Global Command Center, watching as status indicators turned green one by one. Every nation, every facility, every system was synchronized for what would become humanity's first interstellar war. But this wouldn't be a war of ships and weapons. It would be fought in the invisible realm of quantum communication. All teams report ready, Dr. Harrison announced, her hologram appearing simultaneously in command centers worldwide. The virus is primed for deployment through every quantum access point we've created. Colonel Tanaka's voice came through from the orbital command station. Hegemony ships are maintaining standard formation. Their quantum network activity shows no sign they've detected our preparations. The aliens' final message arrived exactly on schedule. Your time for peaceful integration has elapsed. Prepare for mandatory incorporation protocols. They're so predictable, Kai muttered from his station in the gaming complex. The virus he had helped develop, refined by millions of players' unexpected strategies, waited in the quantum networks. Even their threats follow a standard format. Commander Chen gave the order they had all been waiting for. Initiative chaos. Execute. The attack began not with a bang, but with a whisper. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden quantum transmitters activated simultaneously. The virus slipped into the hegemony's network through countless small anomalies, each one insignificant enough to ignore, but together forming an overwhelming wave of disruption. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The hegemony ships maintained their perfect formation. Their quantum network continued its precise, mathematical dance of communication. Then, slowly, the chaos began to spread. It started with small glitches in their navigation systems. Ships began to drift fractionally out of formation. Nothing dramatic, just tiny imperfections in their usually flawless coordination. The hegemony's response was exactly as Dr. Patel had predicted. They tried to correct these minor errors using their standard protocols. They're doing exactly what we wanted, Dr. Harrison reported, watching the cascade of effects spread through their network. Every attempt to restore order is actually helping our virus spread. Their own protocols are working against them. In orbit, Colonel Tanaka's sensors detected increasing confusion in the alien fleet. Ships were receiving contradictory orders as the virus corrupted their command structure. The perfect hierarchy of the hegemony began to break down in ways their rigid systems never anticipated. Look at their response patterns, Kai called out, analyzing the data through interfaces originally designed for gaming. They keep trying the same solutions over and over, even as they fail. They literally can't think outside their programmed responses. The virus wasn't just disrupting their systems, it was introducing human unpredictability into their perfect network. Every node it infected began generating commands that made no sense to the hegemony's logical structures. Ships received orders to perform impossible maneuvers. Command centers got contradictory information. The crystalline perfection of their quantum network began to shatter under the strain of chaos. Dr. Patel watched the confusion spread with academic fascination. They've never encountered anything like this. Their entire civilization is built on order and predictability. They have no protocols for dealing with systematic unpredictability. The hegemony's first attempt at countermeasures was telling. They tried to isolate the affected systems, following their standard quarantine protocols. But the virus, designed by gamers who specialized in finding exploits, used these very quarantine procedures to spread faster through their network. They're fighting the last war, Commander Chen observed. They're defending against the kind of attacks they expect from their own technology. But we're not playing by their rules. In his gaming center, Kai watched as real alien ships began moving in patterns eerily similar to those his players had discovered in simulations. Every exploit we found, every weird strategy our players developed, it's all working exactly as we hoped. The hegemony literally cannot comprehend the solutions we're using because they're too irrational by their standards. The alien fleet's perfect formation had completely broken down. Ships drifted in random patterns, unable to coordinate through their compromised quantum network. Some vessels started executing emergency protocols, but these too had been corrupted by the virus. The mighty hegemony armada was being defeated not by superior firepower, but by its own inability to adapt to chaos. Send the message, Commander Chen ordered. Through the very quantum network they had corrupted, humanity transmitted their response to the hegemony's ultimatum. It was short, encoded in the aliens' own language. Your protocols have been found inadequate. Your integration attempt has failed. Withdraw or face further human innovation. Dr. Harrison's team detected a surge of activity in the alien network as the hegemony's leadership tried to comprehend what was happening. Their responses were fragmented, contradictory, and increasingly desperate. They're trying to shut down their entire quantum network, Colonel Tanaka reported from orbit. They think they can restore control by doing a complete reset. Kai smiled grimly. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. The virus isn't just in their network. It's teaching their network how to think like us. The hegemony was about to learn the hardest lesson about humanity. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't the ability to impose order, but the ability to embrace chaos. The hegemony's response to their collapsing network revealed something no one had expected. Fear. For the first time in their 1,000-year history, they faced an enemy they couldn't categorize, couldn't predict, and couldn't control. Their perfectly ordered civilization had encountered genuine chaos, and they had no framework for handling it. They're running full diagnostic sequences, Colonel Tanaka reported from the orbital command station. But every time they try to restore their systems, the virus adapts in ways their protocols can't anticipate. Dr. Harrison watched the quantum readings with a mixture of awe and satisfaction. The virus isn't just corrupting their network anymore. It's teaching their systems how to evolve. We're not just defeating them, we're forcing them to change. In the command center, Commander Chen received an unexpected transmission. The hegemony was attempting direct communication, bypassing their compromised quantum network. Their message was unlike anything they had sent before. Request immediate cessation of hostile operations, willing to establish dialogue. They're not even using their standard diplomatic protocols, Dr. Patel observed, studying the transmission. This is unprecedented. They're actually improvising. Kai's gaming interfaces showed the virus's effects spreading through the hegemony's fleet in patterns that resembled organic growth more than digital corruption. It's beautiful, in a way, he said, watching the visualization. Their perfect system is learning to embrace imperfection. The decision facing humanity wasn't simple. They had the power to completely destroy the hegemony's communication network, to reduce their mighty civilization to disconnected fragments. But Dr. Harrison proposed something more revolutionary. We don't need to destroy them, she told the Global Council. We can teach them. The virus isn't just disrupting their systems, it's showing them new ways of thinking, ways they've forgotten over millennia of rigid optimization. Commander Chen agreed. The best victory isn't destroying your enemy, it's making them understand why they lost. He authorized a new transmission to the hegemony, this time including data about how their own systems had evolved during the attack. The alien response was immediate and unprecedented. Their ships broke from all known patterns, forming new configurations that showed signs of tactical creativity. Their quantum network, instead of fighting the chaos, began incorporating it into its protocols. They're learning, Dr. Patel breathed, watching the transformation. Thousands of years of stagnation and human unpredictability is forcing them to evolve. The next 12 hours became a fascinating dance of adaptation. The hegemony's attempts to counter the virus led to innovations in their own systems. Each failure taught them something new about the power of imperfection, the strength found in adaptation rather than optimization. Colonel Tanaka's sensors detected something remarkable. The alien ships were developing new formation patterns, ones that had never appeared in their historical database. They're not just following protocols anymore. They're creating. In his gaming center, Kai watched as the simulated battles between players and AI took on new dimensions. The alien systems were learning from each defeat, incorporating human unpredictability into their responses. We're not just changing their technology, he realized. We're changing their entire approach to problem solving. The hegemony's final message came without any formal protocol. We understand now. Your species' strength lies not in advancement, but in adaptation. Request permission to learn. Dr. Harrison looked at Commander Chen, both understanding the historic magnitude of this moment. Humanity hadn't just defeated a superior force, they had awakened it from millennia of stagnation. "Send our response," Commander Chen ordered. The message humanity transmitted was simple. The universe is too vast for perfect order. True strength lies in embracing chaos, in finding harmony between innovation and tradition. We offer not submission or destruction, but collaboration. Let us teach you how to evolve again. The hegemony's acceptance came in the form of their ships powering down weapons systems and their quantum network opening itself to controlled collaboration. The virus that had begun as a weapon became a bridge between two fundamentally different approaches to existence. Dr. Patil observed the historic moment with quiet satisfaction. They came to change us, but we changed them instead, not through superior force or technology, but by showing them something they had forgotten: the power of imperfection, the strength of adaptation. In orbit, the alien ships began moving in new patterns, neither purely hegemony nor human, but something new. Colonel Tanaka's sensors detected quantum communications evolving into forms that combined alien efficiency with human creativity. "What happens now?" Kai asked, watching the real-time simulation show increasingly complex interactions between human and alien systems. Dr. Harrison smiled. "Now we all evolve together. They'll teach us about the physics we haven't mastered, and we'll teach them about the chaos they've forgotten. It's not the end they expected when they came to Earth. It's something far more interesting." Commander Chen looked out at the night sky, where alien ships now moved in harmony with human satellites. "They thought they were coming to elevate a primitive species," he said quietly. "Instead, we reminded them of something their perfect civilization had forgotten. True intelligence isn't about achieving perfection. It's about never stopping the journey toward it." The stars seemed brighter that night as humanity prepared to take its first steps into a galaxy that would never be the same. They had not just survived their first contact with an alien civilization. They had transformed it, proving that sometimes the greatest power lies not in the ability to impose order, but in the courage to embrace chaos and the wisdom to find balance between the two.